Year 202X, when it was revealed that the son of a famous politician represents the opposition party entered the university due to corruption in the entrance examination. The government took special measures to calm the turmoil of public opinion, boiling the high-class private schools with special higher education where the chaebol families and the famous heirs attended. The chaebol family is a large industrial conglomerate that is run and controlled by a person or family in South Korea. Often consists of so many diversified affiliates, controlled by a person or group of persons whose power over the group often exceeds legal authority. So far, all the special schools where they can get preferential treatment have been closed. With the implementation of the category of the school's grounds on the National High School Equalization Policy, all high school students in the country will go to the same ordinary school. Lee Duk-kyung of the JK Group, one of the leading conglomerates in Korea, also enters Handong High School, a general school. Handong High School is what the locals called it the worst in Korea. Inside the classroom, a guy approached Duk-kyung to tell him that he saw Duk-kyung on YouTube and he was like confirming that he is the youngest son in the JK Group. Another student also said that the kind of shabby place must be uncomfortable for a person like Duk-kyung. They started showing their creepy smiles and the other put his arms on the shoulder of Duk-kyung. Without thinking, these men asked Duk-kyung for some money and even said that the school life of Duk-kyung will be much more comfortable in the future if he will give them. Which means they wanted Duk-kyung to be their sponsor. Duk-kyung gets something inside his suit and the men believe that Duk-kyung will really give them. Duk-kyung then stood and throws a lot of money at them. It's a huge amount of money that makes everyone in the room want to catch it all. Who's the strongest one here? Duk-kyung asked with a smiley face. But then, a tall man answered that it was he who was the strongest among them all. He even uttered that Duk-kyung is just arrogant and disgusting for throwing much money. Duk-kyung still managed to smile and changed his question. Instead of asking about who's the strongest, he asked now about who's the second strongest. The tall man was then confused as he thought that Duk-kyung wanted to be known as the strongest here. One man with a band-aid on his face was wondering about what was going on. The tall man overheard him and was now annoyed by his cluelessness. "It's not your business. If you don't want to be eaten, get out of here," he shouted in anger. Both of these men started bickering at each other while Duk-kyung is in the middle of them and was just laughing while believing that these men were the strongest here. Duk-kyung slammed a huge bill on the table while telling them both that they should fight against each other. The two were confused and Duk-kyung repeated himself that both of these men should have a battle. Whoever wins the fight will get the 3 million won. The tall man grits his teeth out of annoyance and he was thinking that Duk-kyung disrespected him. Despite that he doesn't want to accept this challenge, he was already punched exactly on the face by the man with a band-aid as this man wanted this money so badly. Duk-kyung smiled slightly and will enjoy watching this fight. The two men were still fighting, and this time, Duk-kyung heard from them that they hated each other since then. Duk-kyung evilly smiled while witnessing the bloody scene and the blood splattered on the money. It was not a normal fight but a fight with a grudge. Lee Duk-kyung uses the power of money to deal with bullies as he wants. The 50,000 won method will also gradually evolve into a point which takes the form of a secret school fighting competition equipped with a system to deal with the work. After 2 years later, Handong High School Freshman Preparation Day is happening. A professor told everyone to continue moving for them to get more information in each class. When the other students left, there are still 10 people left inside the school auditorium. A man walked on the stage and it was Lee Duk-kyung saying that this year's freshmen seemed to be especially cute. He welcomed all these freshmen to Handong High School and also introduced himself as the chairman of the school decision-making committee who's in the 3rd grade now. He then explained that Handong High School has a unique social activity system. Particularly, for the students with special qualifications, they will guarantee a financial benefits and free school life that are unimaginable at the high school level. With Duk-kyung's power in the school decision-making committee, they made all of these possible. And these freshmen can look forward to it. According to him, this will be an opportunity to win a golden future with their own hands. And they were standing here to seize this opportunity. Duk-kyung showed them a black medal and this is what he called a dog collar. He also explained that the dog collar is a symbol of special qualifications that guarantee wealth and honor. 10 million won is congratulations on admission to just one person, Duk-kyung stated, and the 10 million won is inside the dog collar. He then says that he will give this to the strongest freshmen that are inside the auditorium. With all of that, the students were thrilled with what they heard and started fighting with one another. While the students are fighting, the committee members are just laughing looking at the freshmen that are fighting. And even Duk-kyung was giggled witnessing a bloody scene once again. Outside the school, a red-haired student was beaten up by the other student, and the student who had beaten him was beaten by another man who remained woundless. They'll pick a fight, how pathetic they are. If you can't clench your teeth, don't play with your tongue, the man uttered. This man then walked in front of Handong High School while carrying his bag. Upon entering, he can clearly see the congratulatory banner outside the campus. He stared at the campus with a grinning face. He then smiled and whispered, "Let's get started. Today is the first day of school at Handong High School." Inside the school, several students are practicing their skills on how to fight, and some of them are focusing to improve their muscles using a barbell to become stronger. On the other hand, a freshman student named Chu Young-jin is the opposite of them. He's 3 years of being a nerd yet a martial arts fan. He noticed that there are more strong people here, and he also heard that Handong High School is a sacred place for fighting. He thinks that the school is the best for him as a fighting fanatic. He feels a little bit scared, but still, he's glad that he came here. Before entering his classroom, he concludes that there might be a log of strong people among his classmates, and he's looking forward to it. As Young Jin walked to his classroom, he suddenly got bumped into someone and he fell to the ground together with a fat guy. He held into his head and he was confused about what suddenly happened. When he glanced in front of him, he saw a big guy wearing red gloves and was bullying his classmates. He's Yong Dio-ak, a bulldozer, the worst bully. The Iljin Cheol-min family. Behind him is his closest classmates who laugh just because of how Bulldozer hit someone with his bare hand. These guys are trying to hold on with their clenched teeth. What should I do? Bulldozer stated. The man wearing a mask and with brown hair is Iljin Cheol-min Pam named Kang and Jing or Ak. And beside him, a man with blue hair is also Iljin Cheol-min Pam named Su Myung-woo, or usually called Sonic. Weak bones that can't last even 10 seconds have to become shuttles for a year, so he has to hold on, Sonic uttered while laughing. Together with them is a man playing a mobile game at this moment who has a dog collar on his neck while saying, "It's a little awkward around the neck." Is the Cheol-min family leader named Kwak Cheol-min, a karate specialist and loved mobile games. Bulldozer continued to pick a fight while Young Jin is still staring at him as he recalled that Bulldozer is his past classmate in Shin Myung Middle School, the worst bullying guy. He was about to escape as he doesn't want his presence to be noticed by Bulldozer, but then, Bulldozer suddenly spoke, saying that the decision of him has been made. Young Jin stood straight and Bulldozer ordered him to come forward. Young Jin was nervous about the fact that Bulldozer picked him as a victim. Bulldozer knew that Young Jin is pretending like he doesn't hear that he was called by him, and he also added that it will just take 10 seconds. Young Jin's sweat dropped from his forehead and was trembling in fear. Bulldozer was about to give Young Jin a blow, but Young Jin cannot be able to react because of fear, and only closed his eyes as he knows that Bulldozer's punch will give him severe pain. When he opened his eyes, someone catch Bulldozer's punches, which made Young Jin surprised. Bulldozer stared at the owner of the hand who dared to stop him, and the man is looking at Bulldozer and was asking Bulldozer what he was doing on the door as it was disturbing for him when he was passing by. Sonic and all were shocked that someone dared to interfere with Bulldozer, and even Bulldozer itself was annoyed by the man. He was trembling in anger while gritting his teeth. "What's wrong with this bastard? Are you crazy? Blocking my fist," he stated. The unknown only stared at him without giving him an answer and still held the fist of Bulldozer, which made Bulldozer infuriated, throwing harsh words and a threat to the man. Despite that Bulldozer is too strong, he can feel the strange man's strength, which is stronger than him. As Bulldozer shouted, his leader Cheol-min complained about how noisy Bulldozer is. At this time, the strange man pushed Bulldozer away, and the two victims then seized the opportunity to escape from Bulldozer. The man glanced at Young Jin while saying that he cannot believe there is trash among his classmates, and he felt that he was so unlucky because of this. Bulldozer is boasting about himself, but then, the man ignored his words and was concerned about whether Young Jin is hurt or not. Young Jin answered that he was fine, and he told the man that there are other students who get hurt by Bulldozer. Because of how the strange man ignored Bulldozer, Bulldozer becomes more furious and was about to hit the man. However, the man instantly asked Young Jin a favor to hold his bag. Young Jin was dumbfounded to witness the fast speed of the strange man, who easily dodged Bulldozer's fist and was about to deal a blow at Bulldozer's face. Bulldozer's expression was unbelievable as he felt nervous this time, as he thought that he will be beaten by a strange man who he doesn't even know. Because of the strange man's actions, caught Cheol-min's attention. Even Young Min was impressed with the strange man's actions as he observed that the man has no unnecessary movements like a boxing elected. It's the first day of school, so let's move on quietly. There are many days to see each other in the future, isn't it? The strange man said while holding Bulldozer's face instead of punching him. Bulldozer at this point was confused about this situation as he never thought that this scene to him will happen. The estranged man then turned back to Young Jin, and Young Jin excitedly asked him if he learned boxing based on dodging and then weaving since it was sharp. The estranged man only smiled and noticed that Young Min knows about boxing actions very well. After all the commotion, Cheol Min's member was annoyed to think that the strange man dared to cross the line. Sonic was about to stand as he wanted revenge. But then, Cheol Min, their leader, stopped him from making unnecessary and reckless actions, and he reasoned out that the morning bell will ring soon, which means they need to go back to their respective room. Sonic insisted as he doesn't want his family to look funny in the eyes of the students here. We are high school students now, we decided not to use that name again. Let's go, Cheol Min answered, and he assigned all to take good care of Bulldozer for now. Going back to Young Jin and the stranger, they found seats, and it was the only seats left, side by side. Because of it, the stranger thinks that it is fated for both of them to meet. He then introduced himself as Cho Sang-Baek and politely asked Young Jin to take care of him from now on. As they introduce themselves, Bulldozer doesn't want to let slide what happened between him and Sang-Baek. That's why he followed Sang-Baek and was about to make a violent move to hit Sang-Baek using a chair. Young Jin then screamed the moment he saw Bulldozer behind Sang-Baek. Cheol Min suddenly screamed Bulldozer's name and ordered him to stop. Sang-Baek turned behind him and saw Bulldozer's angry face, which was shaking in anger. Young Jin was nervous about Sang-Baek, and Cheol Min was mad at this time. He grits his teeth, causing his lollipop to be cracked. Since Bulldozer's leader stopped him, he doesn't have a choice but to follow Cheol Min's order. He wanted to beat Sang-Baek, but he can't. After all the happenings inside the classroom, lunch came, and Sang-Baek was enjoying eating his banana while drinking a chocolate drink and walking outside the classroom. While he was walking, there are a lot of students looking at him with anger. Sang-Baek noticed the bad aura from them, but he chose to ignore these men. All of a sudden, a man with red hair spits his saliva with a loud sound that made Sang-Baek turn around. He was irritated by the man's disgusting actions. But then, Young Jin suddenly pop up behind him. Young Jin knows that these men were dangerous, so he wanted Sang-Baek's attention to be focused on him instead. He asked Sang-Baek's food while pulling him away to the men. Snacks, school meals are not enough, Sang-Baek answered. With that, Young Jin started pushing Sang-Baek to stay away from the students who were surrounding him. When they successfully left the scene, Young Jin started to tell Sang-Baek about those men. Sang-Baek then understood that those students were watching him the whole time, and he thought that he only needs to be quiet. But then, Young Jin warned him to be careful. Is it amazing to quarrel with them? Sang-Baek asked. Young Jin then let him know that those guys are not just regular opponents. They are from Shin Myung-young, Cheol Min family, which are dangerous students in this school. Despite what Young Jin said, Sang-Baek doesn't care about those families. Young Jin is worried as Sang-Baek doesn't want to just listen to him. According to him, the family is not just a bully, especially the family's leader, Kwak Cheol Min. Sang-Baek lowered his head to level Young Jin, and he wondered about Young Jin because despite being a nerd, he knows a lot about Handong High School and can speak well about the so-called Cheol Min family. What? I'm worried about you, Young Jin answered. No matter how unique this school is, Sang-Baek believes that there are still normal students like Young Jin here. He then told Young Jin that he just want to do what he should do and leave quietly. All of a sudden, someone throws a slipper behind Sang-Baek. It was the man earlier and was enjoying that he made to hit Sang-Baek despite that he was a little bit away. Young Jin was dumbfounded upon seeing the man while Sang-Baek glanced at the man with anger. From what he remembered, it is the one who spits in front of the cafeteria. Young Jin then confirmed it and seems to know who the person is. He said that this man is Min Hyung-seop, rumored to appear more violently in the circle of Chilvengers but was fired because of the lack of strength. The man named Hyung-seop overheard what Young Jin stated and he was annoyed at Young Jin because of it. Young Jin then immediately hides behind Sang-Baek, and Sang-Baek looks at Young Jin with the thought that there's nothing he doesn't know about. Hyung-seop then said that he heard about the fight between Sang-Baek against the Cheol Min family which happened this morning. He believes that Sang-Baek is the real problem. I'll catch up with Kwak Cheol Min. You stay out of this, he stated. As what Young Jin said, Min Hyung-seop is a former Chilvengers, and he's the master of throwing garbage. Sang-Baek was confused about why Hyung-seop is making a fuss about Cheol Min, and he wondered if this was just a game. Young Jin then answered from behind, stating that Kwak Cheol Min is the only one who has a dog collar in the entire first grade right now. Sang-Baek then concludes that Young Jin is referring to the tacky things that Cheol Min wore around his neck. As they kept talking, they forgot the presence of Hyung-seop. If he didn't shout, he would be completely ignored by the two. Hyung-seop called his companions to show Sang-Baek what Handong School really is. When the men showed themselves, they were full of bruises and were greedy to fight against the man that Hyung-seop mentioned. But then, upon seeing Sang-beak's face, they became dumbfounded and nervous. They were stuttering as they said that Sang-beak is the guy they encountered this morning. Hyung-seop was clueless and thought that his companion means to say that Sang-beak is the guy who argued with the Cheol-min family. No, before that, when we came to school. I told you that before. The man answered. Hyung-seop picked up his slipper. He then understood that Sang-beak is the one who bullied his companion before entering the school. He then promised that he will avenge his friend, but he was too late as Sang-beak grabbed his hair and was ready to hit him with a slipper. At this time, the arrogant Hyung-seop is now trembling in fear, while slowly turning his head at Sang-beak. Are you that guy? Hyung-seop asked with fear. Yes, take your slippers first. Sang-beak answered while slightly smiling. Sang-beak raised the slipper and slapped it to the face of Hyung-seop, to the point that Hyung-seop flew away while his nose is bleeding. Hyung-seop fell to the ground while his companions were dumbfounded. Hyung-seop lost consciousness and his companions were trying to wake him up. Despite how scary Sang-beak is, the men still dared to challenge him. As for Young-jin, he was still surprised because of Sang-beak's fighting skills. He thought that Sang-beak isn't an ordinary person, and now he observed that Sang-beak isn't scared even in a situation of one against many. Sang-beak didn't decline his opponent's challenge and instantly hit the men one by one using a slipper. Instead of being scared, it can be seen on his face that he was enjoying this kind of fighting. While he was hitting one man, someone caught him from behind. Young-jin can clearly see that Sang-beak has great strength to handle these big guys as if they were children. Sang-beak grabbed the man's head who was holding his waist and squeezes it until the man's tears started to fall because of the pain he felt. Sang-beak's magnificent upper body muscles are exposed over his uniform. Young-jin is in deep thought and continuously describes Sang-beak's height, which is more than 185 centimeters and weight of 90 kilograms. He took a video of Sang-beak's actions as he was amazed. From high school level physicals to the boxing skills that Sang-beak showed in the morning, Young-jin didn't know there was such a talented person that he will meet in this school. When the commotion ended, Hyung-seop uttered an apology to Sang-beak because he wasn't able to recognize him and called Sang-beak the famous master. Sang-beak recognized the changing attitude of Hyung-seop and he looked for Hyung-seop's friends who told him about the fear of Handong High School. Hyung-seop answered and called his friends a garbage. As they talked, Sang-beak washed his face since he was all sweaty after the fight and he was thankful for the battle because of the reason that he sweated a little after eating his meal. He is even glad that he has washed his face with ice-cold water. What should I do because I'm thankful for this? He asked. Hyung-seop is hugging his slipper and begging for some mercy to Sang-beak. He even called himself trash. Sang-beak then gets his coat from Young-jin and he asked Hyung-seop about what he knows about the Quack Cheol-min gang. Young-jin pointed himself out and was claiming that he also know a lot about Quack Cheol-min and Young-dio. As per Sang-beak, he was curious about the dog collars and the Ilhan Cheol-min family. Hyung-seop bragged that he was an expert on bullying. Therefore, he started to tell what he knows. According to him, the Cheol-min family is a bullying family that has 4 students from the same middle school, with their captain Quack Cheol-min who never avoids fighting. With the performance of Young-dio, a reckless personality that fits to be called a bulldozer. After a year of establishing their group, they became the comprehensive strength of the school, and the 3 surrounding middle schools started getting afraid of them. Young-jin interrupted by saying that they should not ignore the skills of Su Myung-woo and Kang In-young. Hyung-seop beside him was annoyed that he was interrupting. As per Sang-beak, he's not curious about their fighting skill, but instead, he wanted to know these people's personalities. As he was clenching his fist, Hyung-seop becomes frightened and ready his hand to cover his face. He then answered that Quack Cheol-min wasn't as outstanding as they expected. He said that the rest of them are just normal bullies. But Young-dio is an awesome ex-bullying bastard. If Quack Cheol-min didn't take care of it, he would have been in a juvenile center sooner. Hyung-seop called Bulldozer as king of evil as he cannot count the dropout nerds because of Bulldozer's ways of bullying. For Bulldozer, stealing money and running errands are the standard of students' jokes. Is that pig such a bad guy? Sang-beak suddenly asked. Hyung-seop answered that he have been doing a lot of bad things but nothing compared to Young-dio. He heard that some people Bulldozer bullied tried to commit suicide and refused to go to school because of him. Upon hearing it, Sang-beak becomes silent. Young-jin even said that committing suicide is scary and he felt disappointed in Bulldozer because of this. After Sang-beak heard about them, he told Hyung-seop that he wasn't interested at all about dog collar and he politely asked Hyung-seop not to bother him again in the future. He was holding Hyung-seop's head and warned him that there would be no such thing as slippers once he will see this man messing with ordinary kids. Yes, I'll keep that in mind. Hyung-seop immediately answered. He then ran away with fear as Sang-beak gave him permission. After a while, Sang-beak and Young-jin walked in the corridor and Sang-beak said that this school is weird. Young-jin was confused, and Sang-beak then pointed outside as he saw the two guys fighting with each other and the crowd of 4 people cheering and just laughing instead of weaning them. It was strange for him because teachers are pretending that they don't see it. Young-jin then explained that it was because of the school rules created by the school's decision-making committee. Teachers are prohibited from engaging in any fellowship activities among students. He stated that the friendly activities are an elegant way of expressing the fights. He heard that it was part of their daily life when they were in a mess in the past. Somehow, it has differences. They can challenge the dog collar when the fighting rank rises. They got a dog collar because it's Handong High's super special system. Young-jin was about to explain a lot more, but the bell is already ringing, so they need to go inside their classroom. Inside their classroom, Young-jin was listening to their teacher and writing all the lesson written on the board. Bulldozer at this time was sleeping while holding his pen instead of listening to the lecture. Sang-beak on the other hand was holding a pencil case and getting an eraser. As he was staring at it, he recalled the things that happened earlier. Before they went back to their classroom, Young-jin asked him one question, and that is about why he came to Handong High School. This question made him flustered, and Young-jin is hoping that Sang-beak will not take his question in a bad way. Young-jin said that Sang-beak is good at fighting, but then he doesn't think that Sang-beak knows too much. According to him, this school is a place where fighters who are known to be strong gather. In his opinion, Sang-beak seems to belong to those strong groups, and he feels weird that Sang-beak is not knowledgeable enough about the dog collar and Cheol-min family. Sang-beak smiled while saying that he will be relying upon Young-jin to know more about this since they are friends now. Young-jin was overwhelmed knowing that this strong man beside him is already his friend now. In this school, Young-jin is once a victim of bullying and he has no friends here that are. He was thrilled that Young-jin called him a friend. Sang-beak is leading the way while Young-jin is stating that at the peak of this school's power, there is a senior named Duk-kyung, a 3rd grader. Going back to the present time, the teacher is busy with the lesson while Young-jin seems scared. His body was shaking together with his sweat dropped from his forehead. He glanced at Sang-beak and uttered Sang-beak's name. Sang-beak is busy pinching the eraser and throwing it. Young-jin clearly saw where it was going. Sang-beak, what are you doing? He asked, but Sang-beak even managed to smile a little. The pinched of eraser was on Bulldozer's head and Bulldozer was unaware of it as he was busy sleeping. As per Sang-beak, he doesn't actually understand everything that Young-jin shared about this school's information. He didn't get things like dog collars or even the student duel committees. Young-jin, although you said I was weird, but honestly, isn't this school weird? He said. At this point, Bulldozer already felt that someone is throwing little things on his head. Young-jin is still sweating since Sang-beak doesn't want to stop. Let's skip the hard ones first. I can do what I want to do, Sang-beak added. He then called Bulldozer a pig and asked what was above his head. He even told Bulldozer that he should wash his head first. Bulldozer was furious, causing his pen to be shattered as he was squeezing it hard. Without any fear, Sang-beak raised his middle finger to Bulldozer, and that action made Young-jin more scared. Bulldozer grits his teeth out of annoyance and he was holding his anger, but Sang-beak didn't care and even managed to smile while saying, "For me, any trash I see, I tend to clean it up right away." As soon as the class ended, all students inside their classroom gathered encircling, giving space to Sang-beak and Bulldozer. They are all thrilled about the things that might happen. Sang-beak was sitting, and in front of him standing is Bulldozer. Young-jin was worried for Sang-beak because of the reckless doing of Sang-beak earlier. Bulldozer guffaws while saying that it was too late for the apology, and he asked Sang-beak if he wanted to die. Sang-beak still provokes Bulldozer, mocking him for fighting with such naughty guys. He even challenged Bulldozer to fight if Bulldozer can't hold back. Young-jin becomes more scared as Sang-beak teases Bulldozer that he needed permission from his leader to fight. "You're a pig who follows a fighting dog's orders," Sang-beak uttered while laughing so hard. In Young-jin's mind, he wanted Sang-beak to stop. Bulldozer raised his hand and throws a blow on the table, causing it to be damaged. Sang-beak's face becomes serious while Young-jin was shaking, and their classmates felt intense for this fight. Bulldozer is still standing, clenching his fist while Sang-beak is still sitting on his chair while his both hands are in his pocket. "It has nothing got to do with Cheol-min. You're going to die today," Bulldozer uttered. "Won't you get in trouble? You couldn't even move in the morning." "What a well-educated pet pig," Sang-beak answered. He was too good at his words because, with every word he blabbers, Bulldozer doesn't fail to show annoyance. At this point, Bulldozer rushed to Sang-beak and was about to hit Sang-beak on the face. However, Sang-beak still managed to smile. It didn't take a few seconds for silence to fall in the noisy classroom. The bulldozer Yang Dio, who is recognized as a bully and was famous for his aggressiveness in middle school, was lost against a new-face freshman who has no fame. The scene of being super beaten in an instant was a shock itself. The classroom starts to gossip as they witnessed how fast Sang-beak is that they couldn't see it properly how many hits Sang-beak did. But then, Young Jin saw that Sang-beak deals a total of 5 punches. A direct hit at the eye level of the left straight, which was carried out while seated toward the running opponent. As his opponent stopped moving, the stood up and put a light body blow on his side rib. Next, left short upper hit on the empty chin like flowing water. Yang Dio's consciousness was cut off by this, but he finished him off with both hooks that followed as if he was confirming the fight ended. Young Jin was thrilled to think that Sang-beak's movement is not a performance in high school can show. For him, Sang-beak was absolutely awesome. Not only Chu Young-jin but also all the students in the classroom knew that a monster has appeared, and that is no other than Cho Sang-beak. Things escalated quickly. The other members and the leader of the Cheolmin gang appeared and took Bulldozer. Sang-beak then pointed at all to order him to take Bulldozer to the infirmary. When Bulldozer and other members of Cheolmin, all the students in their classroom are cheering Sang-beak as they were impressed by Sang-beak's action. They even said that Sang-beak is a charismatic muscle-crazy guy. It was a big fight for them since this is the first time someone dared to knock down Bulldozer. Some of them were confused with Sang-beak's background as they can see him as an expert in fighting. All the cheering and praises that they were shouting were interrupted by someone. When they heard a voice ordering them all to shut, Sang-beak and Young Jin then looked behind. It was Cheolmin, who appears pissed because of the situation of Bulldozer. Cheolmin says, "You bastard, I knew you were to be arrogant to some extent, but I didn't know you'd be this crazy." Cheolmin walked towards Sang-beak. As they were facing each other, Sang-beak continued to belittle Cheolmin, saying that he was a little late to stop him. He even called Cheolmin a puppy's mother. "I felt sorry for your pig, so I didn't kill him," he added. Cheolmin was fuming mad and made a threat to Sang-beak since he was about to lose patience with him. He warned Sang-beak not to mess with him too much, but then Sang-beak smiled and continued to talk, teasing Cheolmin by saying that Bulldozer was beaten and stretched out, and yet the guy called boss is holding back. And of course, he was referring to Cheolmin. "Oh, you're wearing a dog collar, so you much listening to your owner too. Where is the master of this fighting dog?" Sang-beak said. Cheolmin stared at him with anger, and Youngmin's nervousness get back at this time because of Sang-beak's words. All the students are engaged whether they fight or not. They also saw that Sang-beak wants to fight with Cheolmin, and they wanted that there will be a round 2 to happen. On the other hand, Young Jin is watching them quietly and assessing all the things that Sang-beak does, and then he realized that the main target from the beginning was Cheolmin all along. Cheolmin slightly smiled while realizing that Sang-beak is targeting him because of his eagerness to take a dog collar, and he also mentioned the preseason, and he said that he doesn't want to fight unqualified people like Sang-beak. Sang-beak doesn't care about the preseason, and he said that he doesn't mean to have a fight. He only means that these guys will be going to be okay after fighting with him. Bulldozer from behind suddenly talked that he will solve it himself. He admitted that he was a little careless this time. Since Bulldozer talks, Sang-beak teases him that he will be scolded again by his leader. Because of it, the students were laughing out loud. The student sees Bulldozer as powerless and couldn't do anything now. They even believe that there was a huge gap between Sang-beak and Bulldozer. Cheolmin spits his lollipop and decided to fight against Sang-beak. He said that their fight will be after next week's class president election if Sang-beak is still alive on that day. Despite with Cheolmin's given schedule, Sang-beak wanted to fight it right now as he doesn't want to wait more longer. But then, Cheolmin leaves together with his gang while telling Sang-beak to play with himself a lot for now. Cho Sang-beak boldly provoked Quack Cheolmin, who obtained the first-year dog collar in the first year at the selection ceremony. Today's commotion was enough to stimulate fighters who were only looking at each other. When the Cheolmin gang was already outside the classroom, the students belittled Bulldozer. After the whole class ended, Sang-beak and Young Jin walked outside the school. Day 1 was eventful for Sang-beak, and he reminded Young Jin that those guys won't hurt him, so he doesn't need to worry. Young Jin said that he doesn't know Sang-beak well yet, but he wanted to know one thing for sure. He said that Sang-beak acted as if he didn't know about Handong High School's unique system, but his actions provoked the Cheolmin family and caused a fight. It looks like he was approaching Quack Cheolmin, so Young Jin thought that Sang-beak wanted to participate the dog fighting club, that's why he came to this school. Sang-beak stared at Young Jin and then smiled at him. He He then answered that Young Jin is too serious about him picking a fight. He asked Young Jin's phone and put his own number as he wanted to ask Young Jin a lot of things in the future that he doesn't know. Young Jin was thrilled at the moment because of the exchange of numbers with a new friend. It's a great feeling for him, so he also gave his number to Sang-beak. Now that he already has a friend, it was great for him to come to Handong High School every day. As per Sang-beak, his house is close 15 minutes of foot from the school, while Young Jin needs to take a bus to arrive at his house. When the night comes, Cheol-min just came out from the game cafe together with All and Sonic. Bulldozer is not with them, so Sonic said that he was not having fun as this is the first time Bulldozer wasn't with them. He asked All if Bulldozer really not coming out even if they'll tempt him to eat something delicious. But then, All answered that Bulldozer needs to rest at home. Cheol-min said goodbye to his members and then turned on his way. Sonic noticed that Cheol-min is so quiet the whole time in the internet cafe, and as per All, it may be because he's under a lot of stress because of the dog collar. As Cheol-min was walking while sucking some lollipop, two men called his name and said that they both enjoyed Cheol-min's humiliating appearance today. They even stated that the collar doesn't suit a coward like Cheol-min. Leave the dog collar to me. The man in a black shirt said. They were the first-grade twins from Handong High School named Hak-young Kim and Min-young Kim, the self-proclaimed double dragon. Cheol-min evilly smiled at them, and tonight they were easily beaten up by Cheol-min. Hak-young Kim was lying on the ground as he was already unconscious, while Min-young was full of bruises and blood while asking for some mercy to Cheol-min. He even shouted to ask for some help, hoping that someone can hear him. But then, Cheol-min hardly kicked his face, causing him to fall on the ground while his blood splattered. As per Cheol-min, there is no need to be quiet outside the school. He was grateful that he met these two brothers as they helped him relieve his stress. At this point, he recalled Sang-beak in his mind with the intention that he will avenge sooner. The next day, Bulldozer is still present and he was busy fixing his desk that was destroyed by him last day. A while ago, Sang-beak started to tease Bulldozer again despite that it was too early yet. Sang-beak is the one who handed the damaged table to Bulldozer and ordered him to fix it, or else he will give this responsibility to Cheol-min once Bulldozer declined. Bulldozer and All were looking at him with anger, and their classmates called Bulldozer an ex-former member. Bulldozer got mad when he heard all of that and he challenged everyone to have a battle. But then, Sang-beak throws up the table at him while telling him that he should be the one to take responsibility for this broken table. That's why now, Bulldozer was forced to fix it and he was irritated as he was having a hard time fixing it. Sang-beak smiled while observing Bulldozer, and for Young Jin, Sang-beak turned Bulldozer into a gentle sheep. Those who are sloppy and rushing around are simple, accustomed to conforming to the hierarchy of forces. He's quicker to understand the situation than he was. Sang-beak answered. He believes that there won't be any quarrels with Bulldozer in the future. Upon hearing it, Young Min said that it was disappointing, and Sang-beak was confused as to what he wanted to say. But then, Young Jin refused to answer. On lunch break, all of the students are rushing to go to the cafeteria because of the main dish, which is the tteokbokki that Handong High School prepared. They all then started eating and Young Jin was staring at how Sang-beak eat his food. He was surprised by Sang-beak's appetite and his plate has tons of food. Sang-beak then explained the scariest thing other than ghosts is muscle loss, so he believes that he should stick to diet and exercise. Young Min awkwardly smiled while thinking that the world in which Sang-beak live is different from him. Even though Sang-beak's mouth is full, he was still speaking and there was something he was curious about. He started asking about the presidential election and pre-season that was mentioned by Cheol-min. Young Jin was thrilled to answer all the questions of Sang-beak as he was confident that he can answer it. He said that this question is a good question. He decided to explain first about the dog collar and dog fighting club. According to him, it was a secret fighting contest where only fighters wearing a dog collar compete. Fighters are made up of students from Handong High School who can fight within the set rules and earn money in return. The fighter will sign a contract with the sponsor and participate in a match arranged by the school decision-making committee. The sponsor that will provide financial support are the children of chaebol families that have total assets in trillions or more. As what Sang-beak understood, they were young masters from rich families with a lot of money. He was confused about why do the young masters join the fight and play with money. And as per Young Jin, gold spoons are tired of flexing their expensive watches and supercars. And for them, it proves the strength and wealth of the family by possessing a stronger fighter than others. Sang-beak pointed out the room with the two student guards and then asked if it was the location of the sponsors. Young Jin nodded, and while saying that those people don't eat ordinary meals and eat the food cooked by the chef alone. As per Young Jin, the schedule for the general election for the class president will be the next Friday, but the pickup auction held that day after school was the real event. Pickup auction was the place where the contract between the pickup auction sponsor and the DFC fighters was made. Fighters are put up for auction with their own values. Sponsors sign contracts when they win the bid for an excellent fighter they want to have. Sang-beak then concluded that Kwak Cheol-min avoided a fight to win a contract on good terms. Young Jin also believes that since they have noble character sponsors, therefore, they will manage the good image of the fighters. Sang-beak was also confused about the said preseason, and Young Min said that before the owner of the dog collar is decided by the pickup auction, it is a period in which they can compete. It is said that 4 more dog collars will be released during the pickup auction because the process of getting that is a duel, the competition is very fierce. Before that, there is a pre-season where they can officially take the dog collar. These are the toughest times for existing owners. Sang-beak was curious if DFC can really make money, and Young Jin answered that it's like to be involved in money play by the chaebol gold spoons. 2 strangers sit with them and shout in unison, and added some information about DFC. They said that DFC can receive fight money and get support throughout their high school life. These 2 men were the Yang brothers who has bandages on their faces. They both conclude that Sang-beak is the new freshman who quarreled with the Cheol-min family. What are these? Are you decalcomania made of these broken dumplings inside? Sang-beak stated, and Young Jin introduced them as the bullies that are famous in the next neighborhood. Sang-beak's eyes become serious as he heard the word bully again. Yang brothers suggest Sang-beak that they will take the dog collar of Cheol-min together. He heard that the deposit amount is 10 million won. In return, they will give the money to Sang-beak on the condition that the dog collar should be handed to them. Young Jin was surprised by the amount they mentioned. But then, Sang-beak frowned and rejected the idea. For him, this idea is a dirty and disgusting plot by the dogs who lost in the battle. Is there any reason for me to step in? Dogs fight. He added. Because of it, Young Jin was shocked again by Sang-beak's use of words. One young brother smiled and stated that Sang-beak was over too confident that he was a good fighter. This drives the young brothers to splatter his tray of food on his chest. Young Jin spits his food and felt nervous. The food was splattered on Sang-beak's head and body. When I tried to help a poor little bastard. I think you're confident now that you learned some martial arts from somewhere. Have you ever saw a bunch of shameless guys like this? The young brothers said. They even informed Sang-beak that this school is not easy to deal with. They turned their way while telling Sang-beak to stay calm for the next week. The action of the twins causing Sang-beak to get mad and doesn't want to let it slide. For Young Jin, the twin brothers' actions are against the school rules. Sang-beak then stomped his feet on the table and one of the twin brothers noticed that someone was about to attack them. Sang-beak then jumped to the twin brothers and kicked one of them on the nose. His twin was worried that his brother was hit on the nose once again. He was mad and called Sang-beak a shameful cheap bastard for hitting them from behind. He was scared as Sang-beak was targeting him next. Sang-beak then slapped him several times using the metal tray he was holding and asked him who was cheap. Sang-beak was ready to slap him once more, but then he apologized. Sang-beak then warned them not to touch him while he was eating. Behind him is Young Jin who was stopping him. The Cheol-min family is also here and they were staring at Sang-beak's action. At this time, Cheol-min warned Bulldozer not to mess with Sang-beak until the pickup auction. Bulldozer then looked at him and smiled while saying that there's a rule in order for work, that's why he agreed to what Cheol-min ordered. He then told Cheol-min that he doesn't have to worry. Cheol-min then invited them to go to the cafeteria as he will treat them. They then went outside the canteen and there was a man with brown hair who was staring at them while saying that a dog collar worth 10 million won. When the class ended, Cheol-min and Young Jin both walked to go home and Young Jin asked Sang-beak if he was really not interested in DFC. Why should I have to keep up with the money play of Gold Spoon's young master? Sang-beak answered. Young Jin also asked him about his reason for the fight between him and Bulldozer and even quarrels with Kwak Cheol-min. Sang-beak then answered that it was the pig who crossed the line first. He also told Young Jin that he was a little excited because he hates bullies so much. Young Jin was surprised and fired back about Sang-beak beating up the Yang brothers earlier. As per Sang-beak, the twin brothers deserved it because of what they do to his plates while he was eating. Young Jin is continuously admiring Sang-beak because of how strong he is. He was confused if Sang-beak only learned martial arts just as a hobby. Sang-beak then said that he was right, and also for him to exercise. Sang-beak then laughed and remembered that there was something he wanted to know about a student at their school. Do you want to ask if he's a fighter or a sponsor? Young Jin asked with excitement. Sang-beak was about to mention a name but the man with brown hair who was at the cafeteria earlier interrupted them. Young Min called him a senior, and he knows this man is a second grader's Beak Gwai or White Goblin. As per Young Jin, this man doesn't have a dog collar yet, but he's one of the strongest guys in the school. Since Young Jin is the one who responded, the man said that he was referring to Sang-beak. You're the crazy guys who's aiming for Kwak Cheol-min, aren't you? He asked. He's Kyo Kyung-T, mixed race, born in Korea. Sang-beak grits his teeth as he thought that this senior also has the guts to bother him. Sang-beak looked surprised and taken aback when he saw Kyung-T's face, as he was familiar to him. He suddenly turned around and was confused about why this guy is also at this school. Since he was not answering, Kyung-T felt a little bit annoyed. Sang-beak hid half of his face with his jacket and claimed that he was not the guy that Kyung-T is looking for. Young Jin was confused because of the actions of Sang-beak and wondered why Sang-beak didn't choose to fight right away. Kyung-T talks back and knows that he was the one who fights the Young brothers, which is also the reason why he was wearing a gym jacket now. Young Jin seems to wonder because it's the first time he saw that Sang-beak was acting differently. Kyung-T tapped Sang-beak's shoulder while saying that they'll not be going to fight and he just want to have a conversation with him. At this point, Sang-beak still lied that he was not the person Kyung-T referring to. Young Jin interrupted them and mentioned Sang-beak's name, which made Kyung-T flustered. This name is very familiar to him. Sang-beak was disappointed at Young Jin, thinking that he will be coughed because of this kid. Kyung-T was in shock and he called Sang-beak his brother. Upon hearing how Kyung-T addressed him, Sang-beak becomes annoyed as he doesn't want to let this kind of guy bother him. He suddenly dropped his bag, which made Kyung-T confused. He then swung his hand and aimed to punch the face of Kyung-T. Kyung-T was alerted, so he clenched his fist in the posture of boxing. Sang-beak was surprised, and even Kyung-T as Young Jin blocked Sang-beak's hand. In the end, Young Jin is the one who was hit in the face. Young Jin uttered that Sang-beak deals a nice straight hit and then faints. Before he fainted, he feels strange as he has never seen a panicked Sang-beak before. Sang-beak even shook Kyung-T off, and the sudden acceleration happened as he was about to punch Kyung-T. His fist flies like a bullet and Kyung-T's reaction is late. Sang-beak has a clean straight hit. It's a straight hit to the exact point. If Sang-beak had a full swing, it will be huge. Young Jin believes that if Kyung-T will be hit by this punch, he'll definitely faint. Since he's the one who catched Sang-beak's face, he's the one who fainted. Young Jin gained consciousness and found himself lying on the bench. He was grunting and couldn't feel his face and was wondering where is now. He then saw Sang-beak, who was angrily holding the collar Kyung-T's coat and was shouting, asking Kyung-T about what's the differences between those bullies. He was so mad as he demanded Kyung-T to answer his question. I know well why your brother is so angry. Still, the first greeting after 3 years is a bit too much, right? Kyung-T answered, causing Sang-beak to be furious. While Young Jin watches them, he is confused because they seem to know each other, and observing Sang-beak, he can tell that the Sang-beak is angry at Kyung-T. On the other hand, Kyung-T told Sang-beak to let his hand aside so that they can talk properly, and he also added that that thing was already in the past. Sang-beak was still in punching postures and seemed triggered by his words. Kyung-T asked the Sang-beak why he came to Handong School with a different face. He then concludes that Sang-beak trying to hunt for bullies because of what happened 3 years ago, so he wanted revenge this time. Instead of answering Kyung-T, Sang-beak dealt a punch at him, but then Kyung-T managed to dodge and was able to give Sang-beak a blow of fist on his stomach, which made Sang-beak wondered as he felt a heavy feeling. Young Jin is shouting Sang-beak's name as he was worried for his friend. Sang-beak kneeled on the ground while holding his stomach. This is the first fall down of the Sang-beak that Young Jin witnessed. Sang-beak is groaning in pain because he feels like he got hit with a sledgehammer. However, Young Jin is still worried about him because he didn't expect that Sang-beak would go down in just one hit. You're looking so excited that you've won against a few sloppy bullies, brother. I'm not that strong either, but I hope you don't take Handong High School too lightly, Kyung-T uttered. He decided to let this thing pass as they both have a past relationship. But then, Sang-beak still dared to challenge him despite that he felt severe pain. However, Young Jin eventually tripped when he was weaning Sang-beak, and he catches by Kyung-T. Kyung-T then reminded him that he can't overdo his movement because he just fainted from the blow. Sang-beak called him and he held Young Jin from the back. According to Kyung-T, he was glad to see Sang-beak again after a long time. He has a lot of questions to ask, but then, he will just set aside it for now. Before he leaves, he informed Sang-beak that he picked Kwak Cheol-min first, as he needed to get the dog collar. He doesn't want that Sang-beak will get in his way. Sang-beak was mad because of his last words. But then, Young Jin politely asked him to be patient. Sang-beak didn't listen to him and continued fighting against Kyung-T. When the night comes, there was a man who was slammed on the corner while holding his chest as someone punches him. It was because of Cheol-min with his gang who were in a fight with several strangers. Sonic was annoyed that these men thought they would win just because they came in numbers and made a surprise attack. As per all, they can't play at ease on weekends because of the sudden attack of the students outside the internet cafe. Cheol-min then apologized as he was blaming himself. He also asked if companions already contacted Bulldozer. But then, Sonic said that Bulldozer didn't answer his calls. All behind him is calling Bulldozer at this time. But still, Bulldozer didn't answer him too. Because of it, Cheol-min started to overthink and was also worried for his friend, Bulldozer. At the same time, Bulldozer is walking outside the city as he was meeting someone who's already behind him. Surprisingly, it was one of the Yang brothers. Bulldozer was asked by one of the Yang brothers to join forces with him as he believes that they both have the same common target, which is Sang-beak. Bulldozer then laughed loudly as he realized that Sang-beak is the only reason why this man wanted to see him alone. He angrily declined and told this young brother not to mention Sang-beak to him again. He refused as he knows that the Yang brothers were aiming for Cheol-min's dog collar in the first place. "Stop messing with me and get to the point," he said. Yang is still persuading him to take down Sang-beak because he was pissed at Sang-beak. He said that both he and Bulldozer knows very well that Sang-beak has the skills and physicality to work in DFC. Bulldozer shouted at him with anger as he believes that this man just want to fool him around. Despite that he was mad, Yang still forced him and even brings up Cheol-min's name, causing Bulldozer becomes angrier. Bulldozer held Yang on his collar. Yang continues his persuasion. "If we can't step on that bastard, neither you nor I can't go to school. Did you know that we were already branded as ex-bullies idiots?" Yang stated. He also added that Cheol-min doesn't care about Bulldozer as he has a dog collar. He scared Bulldozer that he'll leave the next 3 years being treated like a bastard earthworm because of Sang-beak. Bulldozer was trembling in anger and gritting his teeth. The next day, in front of the building, there are 2 students continuously fighting and there are 5 people who are just watching them. Inside the classroom, Sang-beak and Young Jin look at Hyung-seop together with his friends who suddenly came. Sang-beak was irritated while reminding them not to play Bullies games again. But then, he was wrong. The men only came as they wanted to consider Sang-beak as their brother. Hyung-seop ordered his friends to bow in front of Sang-beak to show their respect for him and then begs him to accept them as his ally. He even introduced himself as a street bully for about 3 years and even said that he never saw someone as strong as Sang-beak. Hyung-seop started praising Sang-beak for his strength by saying that he likes the unparalleled food plate followed by his unbelievable slippers because he witnessed all the fights that Sang-beak has. He said that those fights were a great performance that matched the reputation of their weapon master. Young Jin and Sang-beak were dumbfounded while hearing Hyung-seop's words. Handong High School first year win. Until the day you become the DFC champion. We want to add our strength to you, even if we are weak, Hyung-seop proudly said. Sang-beak madly watches Hyung-seop and his friends discussing one another and planning to get the dog collar on Cheol-min. They even plan that they will attack him on that day because they know Cheol-min's whereabouts and they wanted to give a good smash. However, Sang-beak is furious and wants to smash Hyung-seop's head and his friend. Even though they saw how mad Sang-beak is, Hyung-seop continues talking about the dog collar as they thought that Sang-beak is interested to get it from Cheol-min. Sang-beak was pissed and asked them what they can get about joining DFC. Hyung-seop and his friends then shouted money as they wanted to earn a lot of money. Hyung-seop said that DFC is the land of opportunity for their Earth spoons who only have strong bodies. A golden opportunity to touch hundreds to tens of millions of won worth of money. Lee Duk-kyung was the creator of the fantastic opportunity, and they saw him as the savior of Handong High School. Hyung-seop and his friends continue blabbering about joining the DFC in alliance with Sang-beak. They said that they wanted to serve Sang-beak, who will be participating in DFC even though they could only pick up the falling bean powder. They even have prizes on their mind. They have planned whether they get a scooter or change their phone if the money will come in their favor. They also talked about how they should earn money on their own. However, as they were talking, they didn't notice that Sang-beak was already standing up in the seat. They are still talking about having a numerous shuttle, and by that Sang-beak is getting ready to punch them out of anger. One of Hyung-seop's friends ran quickly while the other one and Hyung-seop himself got hit by the punch. Sang-beak was gloomy all along because he didn't have an interest in joining the DFC. Young Jin was also there to wean the angry Sang-beak while Sang-beak warned them not to mention the DFC again. I thought they wanted to be friends. I really feel bad for them because you said no too harshly, Young Jin uttered while hugging Sang-beak's waist. Sang-beak glanced at him and he was still in anger. He then lifted Young Jin to go outside the room. After the incident, there's a glimpse of a flashback that has shown what has happened after they meet Kyung-T. That late afternoon, Sang-beak was carrying Young-jin from the back. Young-jin said that he can walk on his own, so he asked Sang-beak to put him down. Sang-beak then noticed that Young-jin is speaking formally to him all of a sudden. As per Young-jin, it was because of Kyung-T. It was suspicious for him because Sang-beak knows the senior but doesn't have any idea what happening at Handong High School. Kyung-T also called Sang-beak as Hyung. Then there is at least 2 years of difference between Young-jin and Sang-beak. Sang-beak put him down and apologizes to Young-jin as Young-jin got hurt because of him. But then, he said that he don't want to explain his personal history one by one. I won't bother you in the future, so just forgive me for today's work, he said. So, who was the student you were trying to ask for before the senior showed up? Did you come to this school to find him? You even hide your age? Young-jin asked in confusion. Sang-beak got furious with Young-jin and ordered the kid to just leave him alone as he doesn't want Young-jin's help. Young-jin got hurt as Sang-beak's action is too childish. He even doubted that Sang-beak if really get older. Sang-beak was confused about what he meant to say. Why? If you don't like it, why don't you start swinging your fist like before? If you're not satisfied, or don't you want to deal with me because I'm weak? Young-jin asked. At this point, Sang-beak told him to watch his words as he was feeling bad today and cannot stand his behavior anymore. Right at that moment, Young-jin questioned his friendship with Sang-beak. He thanked Sang-beak for saving a nerd like him on the first day of school. And he feels good that Sang-beak scolded all the bullies. But he can't shake the feeling that Sang-beak is hiding something. He concludes that their friendship is a trick taking advantage. Sang-beak's blood is boiling because of Young-jin is too hard-headed. He wasn't sure if he can really tell Sang-beak about his real identity and secrets. He cannot stand the awkwardness between them, so he decided to run away while telling Young-jin that they'll just talk about them tomorrow. Young-jin tried to stop him, but he still runs away as fast as he can. Going back to the present time, they went to the rooftop. Young-jin was amazed by the view above, while Sang-beak was drowned by his thoughts because he wanted to talk to Young-jin as he missed the timing to talk earlier since he was late in the morning. The atmosphere between them is full of turmoil because of Kyung-T. After he made up his mind, he then called Young-jin. Without any hesitation, he apologizes for what happened yesterday and told Young-jin that he didn't want to make his words too rushed. As per Young-jin, he was also hurt, so Sang-beak then apologizes multiple times. He never thinks that Young-jin is worse than he thought. Young-jin then asked him if he was really older. At this time, Sang-beak admitted that he was 2 years older than Young-jin. He said that he took a break from middle school because he had some circumstances back then. Young-jin wanted to ask about what kind of circumstances he was facing, and Sang-beak said that he will tell it to Young-jin slowly. Young-jin keeps calling him Hyung or older brother, so Sang-beak ordered him to stop it as he was ashamed that he's older by 2 years. Young-jin insisted as a respect, but then Sang-beak wanted him to speak informally. Young-jin concludes that Kyung-T might be Sang-beak's senior brother and he believes that both men were pretty close. Sang-beak answered that they were coming from the same elementary school, and they had some sort of connection back then. Oh, yes, that's right, the rumored freshman, the secret returning student, since you are the hero of the story. Young-jin replied, which made Sang-beak annoyed once more and wanted to hit his friend again. Young-jin has one question for Sang-beak, and before he questions it, he makes sure that Sang-beak will give him an answer by saying that Sang-beak should answer his confusion if they were really friends. A student from Handong High School. Who is he? He asked. Sang-beak then honestly answered that he came to this school to follow one student. He was looking for a guy named Jae Kwang-woon, the closest aide to Lee Duk-kyung, the chairman of the school's committee who reigns as the king of the school. His family has dozens of large buildings in Gangnam, and they are the rich second generation of real estate chaebol families. A bastard punk with a bad taste of playing with people like toys. He has both wealth and force, but his personality is the worst. And certainly, he's the bastard that Sang-beak wanted to hit and kill with his own hands. On the same day, there was a phone and a timer was set for 15 minutes as Kwang-woon is currently punching Kyung-T. He punched the stomach of Kyung-T, and the timer then rang after the 15 minutes has been reached. Since it's already 15 minutes, Kyung-T is telling Kwang-woon that it's already over. But then, Kwang-woon continued his strike and kicked Kyung-T's face, causing Kyung-T's blood to spit from his nose. Kyung-T was about to fall because of Kwang-woon's punch. His companion was also worried for him and was reminding Kwang-woon that his 15 minutes is already over. However, Kwang-woon is smiling as he was enjoying this kind of scene. Kyung-T kneeled on the ground with one knee, and his companion did the same. He almost fainted, so his companion is waking him up so he will not lose consciousness. Kwang Woon removed his gloves and complains about how whiny the other student was. He demanded another round while throwing check as his payment. Kwang Woon is the vice president of the Handong High School Decision Committee and is in his 3rd year. He's a 10 martial arts master including Taekwondo, Judo, and Hapkido. The student declined as he believes that Kyung-T can't take another round because of the reason that his molar is shaking. Kyung-T glanced at his companion while saying that his reason is too exaggerated. I think sandbags are good at talking. You talk more last time because you had to go to the hospital, right? I like the taste of hitting a mixed-race person, but I can't stand it if you keep up like this. Where are you going to find a part-time job like this? Kwang Woon answered. He also stated that this first semester made him more excited. Since Kyung-T was too weak for him, he decided to pick a new sandbag from the freshmen instead of these two. After the sparring session, Kyung-T forbids their goodbye and thanked Kwang Woon for using them as a sandbag, as this will make them earn money. Kwang Woon drank water while wiping his wet hair with a small towel. One man then entered his room and told Kwang Woon that he spends a lot of his workout time. Kwang Woon then sits on his couch and was stressed. He was complaining about the oldies of their so-called family who started preaching so hard to tease him. The man that came is Min Di-cheol, a 2nd grade planning committee member. He's the main media for the chaebol conglomerate entertainment fights, The Third Son, and is responsible for the SNS or social networking service. Di-cheol asks Kwang Woon if he has beaten these innocent sandbag part-timers workers because of the stress, and Kwang Woon uttered that he doesn't see anything wrong because he was paying them in return for the beating. Di-cheol handed out the list for the pickup auction and he wanted Kwang Woon to check the list to see the new faces. Kwang Woon rejected it and believes that their president Duk-kyung will look after it himself. According to Di-cheol, Duk-kyung is coming tomorrow in this school for a family event, and he said that Duk-kyung told him to check the list with Kwang Woon. You bastard Min Di-cheol, you're getting too much money by telling the president, don't you think? Do you think I have to behave the same as you with Lee Duk-kyung? Do you think I have to do it if he asks me to? Kwang Woon answered. Di-cheol then said that it was for the school decision committee, that's why Kwang Woon also needs to help. He also said that it was something the president requested so they needs to follow. To his surprise, the list flew away as Kwang Woon hit his hand. He ordered Di-cheol to say please to him as he was the vice president of this group. He then told Di-cheol not to make more noise and just leave the room. Di-cheol was annoyed at him, but he didn't let Kwang Woon to notice it. Someone at the door entered and was asking Di-cheol if he was fine. This man even said that Kwang Woon is a bit harsh at Di-cheol. This big man is a 2nd grade DFC fighter named Cha Myung-soo, Iljin Circle, Chilvenger's captain, and his sponsor is Min Di-cheol, which is why he also has a dog collar on his neck. Kwang Woon stood as he saw Myung-soo and he said that the pet is responding well because the owner of the dog collar has ground up a little annoyed. Myung-soo was annoyed by what he was saying, and Di-cheol stops him for reacting too much. Kwang Woon walked towards Myung-soo while asking him if he also wanted to be a sandbag. Myung-soo then removed his coat as he knows that Kwang Woon picked to fight him first. Di-cheol was shaking in anger to think that Kwang Woon is ignorant of fighting. He even thinks that there's nothing like being sophisticated about punching like Myung-soo. With Kwang Woon's evil smile, he apologized to Di-cheol as he was breaking down a little bit of Di-cheol's dog. Myung-soo shouted, ordering Kwang Woon to stop gossiping and just fight against each other. He even threatened Kwang Woon by saying that he'll split Kwang Woon's thin leg if he will caught it. Di-cheol was already stressed and he thought about their president because he doesn't know how these two men were. They started fighting against each other inside the room, and there are 2 students outside who were startled by the fight because they saw how strong both of them were. In the late afternoon, Young Jin and Sang-beak were walking together as they were heading home. Sang-beak asked again about Kwang Woon if he's really a manager of the school committee. And as PRR Young Jin, as the vice president, Kwang Woon is in 2nd place in name and reality. He also heard that Duk-kyung, the chairman, has been friends with Kwang Woon since middle school. While Young Jin is explaining, Sang-beak was just looking at him and was speechless. Young Jin said that Kwang Woon is a founding member of the school committee and was also known to be a great fighter. He also added that Kwang Woon is famous for his viciousness, but it said that his skill itself will be in the top 5 even if the people don't like him. He believes that Kwang Woon was a dangerous person, so he was confused why Sang-beak is aiming at this man. He also told Sang-beak that destroying Kwang Woon is impossible no matter how strong he is, since Kwang Woon's strength is different from those normal bullies in this school. Although Young Jin doesn't know what difficulties Sang-beak is going through, he reminded Sang-beak that picking a fight with Kwang Woon means that he will fight the entire school system. "How are you supposed to hit a rock with an egg?" he asked. "Then I'm the egg. Where can he get such a big egg like me?" Sang-beak answered while laughing. He then smiled widely and promised to Young Jin that he'll show this kid how an egg like him could break a rock. They both then laughed together, and Young Jin believes Sang-beak is really a strong egg. All of a sudden, Young Jin asked if Sang-beak learned martial arts, boxing or MMA. And as per Sang-beak, he had learned the basics from his friend's older brother who was an MMA player. Young Jun was thrilled upon hearing it since he's a fan of martial arts. He then asked Sang-beak to tell him who the person is, as he was confident that he knew most of the MMA players. Right from the start, Sang-beak already knows that Young Jin's reaction will really be like this. Sang-beak then suddenly glanced to the other side of the road as he saw a student with several guards and a luxury car. He then asked Young Jin if these were the Golden Spoon Masters of the school. Young Jin then said yes, and he explained that Golden Spoon Masters are surrounded by guards whenever they are going to the school, since they are going to another school that has a high school equalization, and he believes that these men seem to pay great attention to safety. He also brought up the first-year implementation that there was a terrorism incident aimed at the young masters. He then explained that the parents were originally against parking on the school playground, and yet now it is part of Handong High School, and is now considered as a luxury card exhibition. After that, Young Jin clings once again to Sang-beak's arm because he really wanted to know who the MMA fighter that Sang-beak is referring to. Sang-beak was stunned because of the personality of the Young Jin that suddenly changes when it comes to martial arts. He just answered Young Jin that he will tell him next time. Young Jin doesn't like the answer that he gets from the Sang-beak, and then he proceeds to call Sang-beak a stingy older brother. Sang-beak then ordered him to stop calling him with this, as he was not used to it. Sang-beak realizes that by picking a fight with Kwang Woon, he still needs to go inside the school. He can easily find them because he is sure that being part of the school committee they have a designated room. And then he held Young Jin's shoulder while saying that the egg they mentioned makes him hungry, so he invited Young Jin to eat. Young Jin suggested a newly opened hot dog restaurant near the school. While they were walking, behind them is Bulldozer, who was annoyed while staring at Sang-beak. Someone suddenly approached him and held his shoulder. It was one of the Yang twins, asking if Bulldozer will really do what they plan to do. Bulldozer then answered that he will make it by tomorrow. He asked Young if where he was planning to go, and Young then answered that he'll set up a scheme for Sang-beak to a very amazing place. He wondered how Bulldozer could make Sang-beak forced to go in the place he mentioned, and Bulldozer told him not to worry, as he believes that there's a lot of way to make it. In the evening in the boxing room, Sang-beak is busy punching and tiring himself while recalling about the interaction that he had with Kyung-tae, who was accusing him that day that he will hunt bullies in Handong High School. He continuously punches while his sweat is dropping. He also remembered Young Jin asking him about who the student he was looking at Handong High School was. He gritted his teeth angrily as he recalled Young Jin mentioning about the terrorism incident that happened in the first year of implementation of DFC. He shouted his anger and he slammed the punching bag on the floor. He then removed his boxing gloves, and the last punch he dealt on the punching bag left a big damage. He was breathing too fast and he swallowed 3 pills while believing that he can break everything. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you wish to have another part of this recap, please give us at least 2,000 likes. Please don't forget to comment and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Until next time.